Hey guys, I'm Ben from AuthenTech, and today we're running a fun side-by-side camera comparison test of the GoPro HERO6 Black versus my current daily driver and a great camera phone, the LG V30. Now I understand comparing these two cameras is apples and oranges. One's an action camera built for durability, tough shooting conditions, and easy mounting system, while the other is a phone. But the V30 has a secondary camera lens that's an ultra wide angle, and it has water resistance built in and some other similar shooting specs. So this is more of a fun shootout. I'm not suggesting anyone to go sell one device for the other, but there's some interesting results and key takeaways at the end. Now as we jump in, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my future tech videos. Let's start with some 4K videos side by side. Both cameras are shooting in full auto 4K 30 frames per second. The GoPro 6 has 12 megapixels, the V30's wide angle cam is 13 megapixels. The sensor size is larger on the GoPro and also has a bit wider angle field of view. I like how wide they both are, squeezing a ton of landscape and objects into frame. One thing I notice, a pro and con between these two, the GoPro has that slight curvature at the edges. It's that iconic fisheye GoPro effect, not necessarily a good thing, while the V30 has a rectilinear lens maintaining straight vertical features and lines. I almost always like this better. However, you can notice there's stretching on the sides while the GoPro doesn't have that. Pros and cons to each. Which one do you like better? One massive benefit the GoPro has over the V30, it can shoot 4K 60 frames per second. The V30 cannot do that, sadly. However, the iPhone X can. If you guys would be interested in seeing a comparison test of the GoPro versus iPhone, let me know down in the comments. Some other things I noticed, the colors and white balance look a bit more natural on the GoPro. The V30 often seems to have this greenish tint in the footage. The V30 also seems to have a bit more contrast and saturation applied. Which look do you like better? Of course, you can toggle into manual mode on both these cameras and tune in the picture just how you'd like it. Both these cameras have infinity focus set, so that means no manual focus on either. Basically, all objects and landscape should be in focus. When we freeze frame and zoom in, I've got to give it to the GoPro again. It has a more crisp and clean image. Sharpness, clarity, and details just look better overall, and this is actually for both video and photo sample shots. The V30 looks good, but tends to be a bit muddy and soft when zoomed in. GoPro just does a splendid job. Now maybe you don't always want a wide angle. Well, of course, the V30 then has that primary lens that zoomed in and looks way sharp, while the GoPro, yeah, it does have the zoom in narrow field of view. That's just cropping in on the sensor and it doesn't match up to the V30's quality. This is sort of obvious but key to point out. A camera phone often has dual lenses now, which is great to have for whatever you're shooting. The GoPro is more of a one-trick pony, though it works wonders at what it does. For slow motion, the GoPro can shoot an incredible 240 FPS at 1080p. The V30 can match that frame rate, however the quality is just so poor and actually kind of pathetic in comparison. This GoPro 6 has some fantastic slow motion capabilities. Here's some low light sample shots and a couple things I noticed here. I made sure to turn on that GoPro auto low light setting and it seemed to produce some really soft images in super dark places. The V30 on the other hand maintained a bit more sharpness and clarity in the image, however it looks super grainy and noisy. Additionally, dynamic range looks to be a bit better on the GoPro. Our next test is a big one, stabilization. I covered this in my last GoPro 6 video, but here's one area GoPro has really stepped up their game and is miles ahead of their competition. And I'm not just comparing to the V30 here, though it's a good example. The GoPro 6 has incredible Electronic Image Stabilization, or EIS, making a lot of its footage almost look like it was shot on a gimbal. The V30, well, its wide angle doesn't even have EIS nor OIS, so it's super shaky. When you see them side by side, you can see what an amazing difference that EIS on the GoPro is making. I personally think this is one of the V30's biggest downfalls. That primary camera has a 3-axis OIS, and you can see it's doing an okay job here, but there is sadly no image stabilization on that secondary wide angle lens, though it's greatly needed. Audio is super important when filming videos, and here's how they compare. And this is an audio test between the GoPro HERO6 Black, and this is audio on the LG V30. I'm scootering around. There's just a little bit of wind. How's wind reduction working? This is an audio test on both these devices. How does it sound? Audio test 1, 2, 3, 4. Audio test 1, 2, 3, 4. This is one area of the V30 as most phones would beat out the GoPro. I heard since the GoPro is encased in this waterproof shell, it had to do some sealing technology stuff on the microphones, thus making them sound muffled and quiet. Now yes, both devices could have external microphone solutions. Both cams have time-lapse features built in. The GoPro has voice control, the V30 has panoramas. Both are somewhat small and portable. The GoPro is easier to mount just about anywhere, while the V30 is obviously a phone, which is always on you, so you don't miss the shot. And I think this brings me to my conclusion. The GoPro is fantastic at what it does. Camera phones have come a far way in recent years, and I'm excited to see them keep getting better. I'd love to see a manufacturer create a phone with 3 lenses, an ultra wide, a medium, and then a telephoto lens, best of all worlds. At the end of the day, these cameras are just tools to help us tell stories and share content, and ultimately it's what you do as the creator with these tools and how you tell your story. Don't let the technology get in the way. Price on the GoPro 6 has dropped, it's down to $400. Most top tier camera phones nowadays are pretty dang expensive. This V30 is still around $700 to $800. It's impressive where these technologies have come, and I'm excited to see more advancements in the future. If you're new around here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss my future tech videos, and thank you guys so much for watching. Until next time, let's live authentic.